This is Liquidambar styraciflua, American sweet gum. And you know, there's two varieties that seem to be used the most in our area, Palo Alto and I believe Festival. So there's a number of different varieties, but those are probably two of the more common ones I see, and especially great fall color varieties. So I'll get into what's really nice about this tree. Probably the biggest distinction on this tree are the two things. Its form. You can see that there's two trees here. There's actually a third one in the background, but you see how vertical they are. They have this nice vertical stature or habit of growth. Those are probably only 10 to 12 feet wide, but they're 30 feet plus tall. And so they really look nice in groves or in groupings like you see here. Secondly, probably the best fall color tree, hands down, and in a reliable fashion. We're in the Bay Area in California, in a hot inland valley, and we only get in the high 20s to low 30s during the winter, but these still in fall produce quite a show, and it's really impressive. That said, so this is a popular tree as a result of that. The vertical stature, they don't get into your neighbor's yard so much width-wise, and like here they've kind of defined the edge of this property. I like how they've been used that way. But so let's get into the other side, or the not so great side of this tree. Probably has the singular worst root system I've ever encountered. If you ever look underneath a mature grouping of these, I'll take a look and see if these are doing what I'm telling you about. But if you ever try and get in and do any additional landscaping around these trees, the roots are so intense, so shallow, so just overwhelming to other plants that it's very hard to grow other plants in and around the base of these trees unless you establish those when they're young. But even over time, I mean, I'm saying this not because that's what I'm looking at, but it's just so common. Those trees I'm looking at don't have any significant plants around their trunks either, and the ones that are there are struggling. Because of that, the root system just literally strangles out other plants. Secondly, that becomes a real problem for any paving, lawn, anything like that. So these trees really don't like company, I guess is what it boils down to. Their roots are really a headache. Secondly, they produce what we call the spiky balls. So their seed is a round, probably inch and a half diameter, spiky little ball that as it dries, it falls to the ground en masse. In some years, especially as a tree gets bigger, you get hundreds of these falling on the ground, and they hurt your feet if you step on them, and they're just a general nuisance, maintenance nuisance. And because they're not a leaf, these can continue to drop for months, and that's the other thing. So you get a long litter cycle out of those spiky balls. Not to mention they don't look so great hanging in the tree half of the winter. So those two things alone are enough that usually I'm not willing to use this tree. The exception is, and as a designer, the way I would tell you to look at using these is if you've got a slope or a big open area where the roots don't matter and the cleanup of those spiky balls don't matter, that's probably your best bet. Or you've got a larger residence and at the back of the property you want some vertical interest and some great fall color, I'd say that's the way to use these and enjoy them, is keep them away from where people are, where you would have to maintain them, and put them far enough away to where you can also enjoy that nice form. I've seen these paired with redwoods. I've done that myself years ago, and they're beautiful next to redwoods because of the dark color of the redwood with the fall color of this tree. Looks great. So that's a way to think about using those in design. What to avoid, I've already said, is keep them away from paving, lawns, and tight areas where you're trying to, and also other planting areas. If you're going to put these in at all, just know that long term, other plants probably aren't going to survive. The best plant around this for me is Vinca minor, or some very wiry, easy to grow ground cover underneath them that can take some shade as these mature. So that's what I can tell you about these. Long term too, I've seen these, they're fairly drought tolerant. You don't want to do that to them, but if you get into a low water situation, these can probably survive that, and with some very moderate to low water once they're established. They're pretty good survivor. Easy plant to grow, by the way, and pretty good growth rate. And that's what I can tell you about American sweet gum, Liquidambar styraciflua. Here's the star-shaped leaf of Liquidambar. Beautiful leaf, very interesting shape, nice star shape. By the way, here are the seed heads before they dry. You see that kind of spiky shape? That's what I was referring to. So as they get older and dry, that's when they become an issue. Here's the spiky seed balls from the Liquidambar.